staff with us today, you want to put your hands up so we can say hello to you. And Carlin is here. She doesn't come too often. Carlin's one of the few that expected Dr. Mary to be here. That will be approached shortly. And Norma Williams is here. So welcome. Anybody I forgot? Because Lord knows I'm capable of doing it. Table decorations today. Look at these tables. Nice and tastefully decorated, not overdone. We have a new artistic director of table decorations, which is Gretchen Lewis. Raise your hand, Gretchen. Gretchen, did you say you had never been to a 99-cent store or a Dollar Tree? It's going to become your new favorite store. And helping her out was Kathleen and Gail Edwards. I saw them hanging things. So good job, folks. It looks wonderful. We appreciate that. Okay, the unbelievable happened, and you all know it by now. On Tuesday, we called to confirm Dr. Mary coming to speak with us, and we got a confirmation she'll be there. And 2 hours later, we got a phone call. She can't make it. Jackie is one of the most mellow, easygoing, laid-back, come see, come saw people you'll ever meet. But she had a meltdown in our office that had me just kind of backing against the wall and letting her get it out of her system.
Meltdown by the coffee machine.
Oh. She was not having a good day. We want this information to be presented to you so badly. So as the day wore on, and I calmed down way before she did because I didn't get the phone call, and Jackie's put blood, sweat, and tears into trying to schedule this woman. I called them back, and I spoke to her administrative assistant, and I was so proud of myself at how tactful and professional I was. Rodney, we are so aware of the demanding schedule of a transplant surgeon and how things turn on the drop of a hat. And this is wonderful information, and it's something that's really hopeful for our patients. Is there anyone else out there you can send to do her presentation? How about her clinical coordinator, or one of the nurses, or a resident, or an intern? I don't, transplant, we never have the surgeon themselves come out. I felt like saying, email me her PowerPoint, please. Couldn't quite do that. So we're trying to get someone else out. I made it very clear I did not ask to reschedule her. And that's what the unspoken that was screaming was, we're not going to reschedule her again with you. But we're trying to get someone else to come out and talk about it and see if we can find out more. If not, look it up on the internet. It's good information. If we see her at CSPR in May, that's how we were introduced to her last year, was through our annual convention. We're going to give her the stink eye and boo her and heckle her. We're going to heckle her. What do you mean you go and talk to patient clubs? You mean you stand them up? No, I shouldn't be nasty about it. Anyway.
Yes, you should.
So instead today, it's going to be people's choice. I brought the laptop and the PowerPoint, and I've even brought the iron key. That's the one that's encrypted, and you have to have a double password, and it's coded, and it's got all the confidential stuff on it. I haven't browsed it all yet, but I will. So you get to pick. I'm going to give you the 3 potential topics. Jackie can do an update on using your inhalers, how to use them, when to use them, why to use them, what they do, what sequence to use them in. She'll take about 20 or 25 minutes with that, and then I'll give an update on oxygen, what it does for you, how it's prescribed, why you wear it, when you wear it, all of the information to review oxygen therapy. Or I found a slide presentation from our 35th anniversary birthday party that has the history of the PEP Pioneers from day one, the very first person that graduated the program, up until the 35th year. We're now in our 37th, going on our 38th year. or we can review some of you might have seen that before, but we can look at, there's some really silly pictures of Jackie when she's young. Not me, not when I was young. I was never young.
I've been doing pulmonary rehab since I was 25 years old, and I'm 57. So wow. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time.
So if you want the re-instruction, because it's good information to remember how to use your inhalers and the oxygen. If you want to do that, raise your hand.
You won't hurt my feelings.
You're going to get some of this next week, Terry. Okay. If you want the history of the PEP, breathing retraining. Breathing retraining.
Yeah, breathing.
Okay, we can talk about breathing retraining. I don't have any of the presentations on this with it, though. God, boy, do I ever. Or if you want to see the PowerPoint of 35 years of the PEP Pioneers, which is you guys, PEP Pioneers. Okay, well, it looks like that's what we'll do, and we'll plan a time to do some review. And I want to remind you guys, if you ever do want a review on anything that you went over in class, which would be controlled breathing techniques, inhalers or your puffers, oxygen therapy, activities of daily living such as climbing stairs, taking a shower, anything that we do as part of the class, let us know. We will tell you when we are having that class again, and you can sit in and audit it. It's so important that you stay current on these things, and it's easy to forget over time. So,
maybe we need to schedule us
on a luncheon to do breathing, oxygen, and inhalers.
And maybe do a little relaxation.
That's a lot for one day, Jackie. We spend...
Well, you can rely on me. I'll show up. I'll be at the luncheon.
Now, come on, we're mature, we're grown-ups, we're professional. Oh, her tantrum was frightening. It shut me right up.
They said I felt better once they put the mustache and the horns on her picture. It was like filling up that letter. Remember back in the old days?
Oh yeah, that's another story. Let it go, Jackie. Taylor Swift says, shake it off. Shake it off, Jackie, just shake it off. Okay, now we have a new, you folks are probably just as aware as we are, those of you that come to maintenance and exercise. Ever since we went over to the new computer program last year, it's just been awful. There have been more billing problems, people that are getting multiple bills. We had one person that had 8 bills for the same date of service delivered within like a 2-day period. Then people not getting any bills and then being billed for outrageous amounts of money and having insurances billed for maintenance, which it is never covered by, and billing and insurance for maintenance is fraud. Can't say that word too loudly, so they're all being anyway, I think that Carol and Tiana have given up trying to straighten out the problems with the billing office and the new computer program. And we're going to be doing everything differently starting soon, like maybe next week.
I think next week, yeah.
So from now on, you are not, if you come and exercise in the gym, you are not going to be getting a bill in the mail anymore.
Oh, really?
Nothing is going into the computer because they don't know how to process it.
And that's it. Once you put it in, they can process it.
So what's going to happen is Tiana is going to discreetly notify you that your 10 visits are up and that your $40 payment is due. As of this moment in time, you can pay with a check or if you have the exact cash. We have ordered a machine for credit card payments. It has not turned up yet. You will be given a receipt. So you'll have that for your own records. There's no changes in the price or the conditions. It's still just the sessions you show up for. Yes?
Do you have an address where we can mail it in?
We could give you the address on the computer. I know, you're one of those computer-generated guys.
Me too.
I agree. Talk to Tiana. She'll give you the address and all that. Tiana's amazing. She's wonderful. If by chance you do get a bill in the mail, don't pay it. There's an audit going on to find out what's happening. Bring it into Tiana and let her find out what's going on too. And just for maintenance, pulmonary rehab maintenance, if you do get a bill in the mail, bring it to Tiana before you pay it, because she needs to make sure it's a legitimate bill and that it's... Okay, well then you guys are ahead of the game. So, because there has not been any problem with keeping records of the dates of service. Keeping records of the dates has not been a problem. The problem has been once those go into the computer, how it just bounces around cyberspace. They moved our billing offices up to Oregon, so there's no one local we can call, and it's, as we all know, it's been a nightmare. So this should take care of it. It's going to keep all the transactions right in the gym. And if you do get a bill, contact Tiana.
There's the problem, they don't know how to pay Oregonian.
Cardiac is having the exact same problem. The same problem. And their program, their maintenance program, is much more expensive than ours. It's much more. And they're charged per month, even if they're on vacation or in the hospital or sick. They're charged whether they show up or not, like a regular gym. So I want to get a few little oxygen testimonials here. What's new in your life, Nancy Kimball?
Two certain individuals ganged up on me and convinced me to, more or less, and convinced me to start using oxygen at night. I used it at night for the first time last night, and I've had the best sleep I've had in a long time.
Yay! And do you think that it has anything to do with wearing oxygen for the first time? Because your sleep study was pretty indicative of needing that oxygen.
Yeah, it definitely did.
So why did you quit wearing it? If you had it in your house, why did you quit wearing it?
I would have, it was the only time I needed it. Oxygen and fabric for when I'm sick and I couldn't breathe. But to me, I thought I was breathing during the night. I didn't realize that we did that test.
You are breathing during the night. You're just not getting enough oxygen. Yeah. Okay, oxygen therapy class. Anyone wants a refresher? Next week, Tuesday and Friday. Tuesday is when, what, where, why, how. Why do I have to deal with this? And then Friday is traveling with oxygen and learning about that. And you have a new oxygen experience. See, I love oxygen experiences. You want to tell us what you're up to, Art?
Yeah, I have a new toy here. I have a new toy. I don't know if you can see this. I have this new toy that I wear now. It's called an oxymizer, which cuts the oxygen in half. So I used to say I was on 4 liters. I only have to really be on 2 liters now. So it really works, and I've been having it since I got out of the hospital, and it works. It just cuts down the amount of oxygen that I have to use, you know. It's good for 3 weeks at a time. They send me a new one, and I have to get a prescription for it. And, you know, it works. It's got a little diaphragm inside of it that breathes. You see it bouncing up and down, you know, you're breathing. You know. But I'm not sure how the scientific part of it is, but it actually works, you know, and I can breathe better. The tube is a little bit bigger. I don't know if you can see it. It does have a problem of slipping off my ears, but, you know, I'm getting used to it and learning how to use it, because I'm on oxygen 24/7, so it's much better than what I had previously. I like it.
Well, it's never too late. It's the only oxygen-conserving device that is approved by your pulmonary rehab team. because we still are not fond about the pulse dosing devices for most people. And the oxygen conserving device really does. Before he couldn't use his one concentrator because it only went to 3 liters per minute. He would have to wire together 2 concentrators or come up with some high-tech stuff. But now with wearing this, that medallion that's discreetly covered under his shirt holds and stores free-flowing oxygen while he's exhaling. So that way it makes it, that's one of that and the wider bore tubing is how that works, by storing oxygen that would otherwise be lost during exhalation. So if you find yourself close to maxing out, what you can do, oxymizers are wonderful alternatives. They're great for travel. And even if you wear 2 liters per minute, you can put it down to a half a liter and make your portable system last 20 hours.
Wow.
You know, make it last a really long time. So that's a big advantage of it too.
Good to know.
Why wouldn't everyone get them?
For when we're in the car.
It needs continuous flow only. It does not work off a pulse dose. You need to contact your oxygen company. They will provide them with you. You need a new prescription from your doctor because it totally changes how you're using oxygen. It changes the flow, which is the amount. So you need a new prescription from your doctor. All of our local pulmonologists are aware of it and supportive of it and like it. Not certainly family practitioners and non-pulmonologists say, you want to give them a what that's going to do what? What kind of black magic is that? It's called an oxymizer, and I'll give you all the information you want on it because it will make your oxygen, but it does need a continuous flow source in order for it to work. The pulse dosing doesn't keep the diaphragm full to recirculate the oxygen with you. Okay, is that okay with you, Dwayne? Okay. Kurt, you want to come talk about Ronald Reagan and tell us what you've been up to lately? Hey there, Eric.
Thank you, Betsy. We had a great whale trip a few weeks ago for those that went out. It was a great trip. We saw lots and lots of whales, and we had a whale of a time. We are working on another field trip for April to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. Now, I know there's a lot of Democrats in the room, Edna, but it's not highly politicized, and it is a fabulous facility. I went there 3 months ago, and it sits on top of a hill. It has a spectacular view of the valley. It's a beautiful facility, and they've just added Air Force One. They've built a whole building, and they've enclosed Reagan's Air Force One jet, and you can walk in it. They have a catwalk that goes in there, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful library, and it's really well done. There's lots of places to sit. They have a couple of nice dining areas, and I think it'd be a great field trip for everybody. It's probably about an hour and a half bus ride, so we'll set it up leaving from PEP. The bus will take off from there, go to Reagan. We'll have lunch there, tour around, and be home by 3. But I think you all really like it. It really exceeded our expectations considerably, and I know you all would really enjoy it.
The gift shop is wonderful.
And the gift shop, according to Mary Lee, who's probably going to shop for here, is terrific. So I think you all really enjoy it. Even if you didn't like him as a president, it's a fabulous facility. He's also buried there, so if you want to go see his grave, you can do that as well. Don't have a date. It's going to be in April. Because the kids are going to the Reagan Library now. Oh, the other thing is, because the Peterson Automotive Museum is closed down for 6 months for a major rehabilitation project, they have brought over, I don't know, dozens of cars from the Peterson Automotive Museum, and they're now stored at the Reagan Library. So we get kind of a twofer. We get the Presidential Library, and we get to see a bunch of old cars from Peterson Museum. So I think it'll be well worth it. And the other thing, people had asked me, and Betsy asked me to say a couple words about a trip I just concluded. I just got back 2 days ago from Vietnam, and I spent 10 days there with an organization that's based in Irvine called Free Wheelchair Mission. And what we did for 10 days in Vietnam was to build 450 wheelchairs and give them to people who need mobility. And this is not in the cities, this is not in Saigon or in Hanoi, but in the deep, deep, small cities way south of Saigon. And we go to these cities and go to a small Red Cross center, and we would build wheelchairs. And while we're building the wheelchairs in the next room, people would arrive that the Red Cross, the Communist Red Cross, had selected, and then we bring the wheelchairs to these people who have a variety of ailments. People with double amputations, single amputations, polio, birth defects, older people that needed mobility. And these wheelchairs aren't replacing a previous wheelchair. They had no mobility before this. They were literally brought to the meeting in the back of trucks. They were brought in wheelbarrows. They were brought, I mean, you couldn't believe this. And we got to fit the people into the wheelchairs that we had just built and present them with a free wheelchair. And it was a life-changing experience for all of us. These people, we profoundly changed their lives and their families' lives, because their family had to lug these people around because they had no mobility. And so it changed not only the patients, but also the families' lives. And it's also interesting that there virtually are no cars in Vietnam. I would say 95% of the people get around on motor scooters. So at the conclusion of our fitting people into the wheelchairs, we had to show them how to put a wheelchair on a motor scooter, because they had to go to their even smaller towns than the dinky towns we were in. So we had some Vietnamese kids that traveled with us, and they would show the people how to tow a wheelchair behind their scooter or put it up on the scooter. And I know it sounds crazy, but they were all able to do it. And they're used to carrying sometimes 4 people on a scooter, or they're carrying corn or rice or barrels. I mean, we saw people with mattresses on the back of scooters. You can't believe what they carry on scooters. And so after the presentation, they'd all take the wheelchairs out, and the infirm people would sit on the back of the scooter, and then they would tow the wheelchair behind the scooter, and they would go to their homes. And over a period of 10 days, we went to many small towns to build the wheelchairs, and then we flew up to Hanoi via Vietnamese Airlines, and we built 100 wheelchairs in one morning for a hospital. And again, we had people with all sorts of ailments. We had a little girl that had some sort of blood disease on the ends of her feet, and her feet were all literally bloody and pussy, and she had never had good medical care. So we're paying for her to get professional medical care, because I think what she has may be very curable. She just hasn't had a good medical treatment. But it was an amazing experience, and it really made me appreciate everything that we have in the United States, from clean water to nice hotels to roads to food. I didn't particularly care for the food. Before I went on the trip, my wife and I went to a Vietnamese restaurant in Redondo Beach and had a fabulous dinner, and I'm going, oh, I can't wait to get to Vietnam. And when we got there, I don't know, it wasn't for me. We had a lot of what they call pho soup, where it's kind of boiled water and they throw vegetables and meat. everything, and twice we had little chicken heads pop up to the surface. You know? So it was not my kind of dining, and we did. All the lousy food aside, and the crummy hotels and everything, it was a life-changing experience, and it was an experience that I'll never forget. So, and Nan, you had a question.
Yeah, this is a trifle question. How are the people selected? And I'm assuming there are more people in need than you had wheelchairs available?
Yes, the question was, how are people selected, and are there more people in need of wheelchairs? The Communist Red Cross is who we worked with, and they're the ones that selected the people. And their Red Cross is actually part of the communist government. The communist government, by the way, has all the nicest buildings in Vietnam. And you go by these beautiful buildings with beautiful fences around, and I'm taking too much time, magnificently painted buildings and everything. Those were the communist government buildings. But the Communist Red Cross selected the people, and those people were informed where to go to get their wheelchairs. And they were very thorough about checking who got the wheelchairs, and they checked off their name as they took the wheelchair out of the room, so there wasn't any fraud. And there are thousands and thousands more people that need wheelchairs. And so that's why this organization called Free Wheelchair Mission plans several other missions to Vietnam. They also go to Africa and Ethiopia and Chile and lots of other developing countries.
So are they selected by, as far as, do you know?
I have no idea how they're selected, but obviously these people were desperately in need of transportation. D.
Where do all the parts come from?
The parts are all manufactured in China, and each wheelchair comes in a cardboard box. And so we would divide up, there were 12 of us, we would divide up in teams of 2, and 2 of us would build a wheelchair. And we would open the cardboard box, and there'd be 2 wheels in there, and the frames, and all the parts to build the wheelchair. And then we would build the wheelchair. And the wheels are not like U.S. wheelchairs that are those skinny, hard, solid rubber wheels. These are like bicycle off-road tires with big treads on them, and you got to pump up the tire because they're being driven on dirt roads, in gravel roads. They don't have nice, fancy streets like we have. So they need bigger tires and wheels. And it's pretty easy to build the chair once you kind of get the hang of it, but it takes a few minutes to build a chair.
Is there only one organization that accepts
A few minutes, I know this one.
No, I think there actually might be a couple organizations globally that produce wheelchairs. This is not the only organization, but I got sold on it because a neighbor's high school daughter kept selling us chocolate cakes because she was raising money for this free wheelchair mission. And I learned about it from her, and then she and her mom went to Vietnam about a year ago, and her mom came back and showed me pictures of her trip. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. And so I contacted the company in Irvine, and I set up a website, and I started raising money. And I raised $8,000, all from my friends, towards chairs. And these chairs only cost about $75 a piece. So these are very inexpensive, crude chairs. They could never be sold in the United States. They don't have all the adjustability and all the federal standards and all that BS. And they don't need it in Vietnam. The people are all skinny. There are no heavy people in Vietnam, so one size chair really fits everybody. And it's amazing. But yes.
Who provided the tools for the assembly?
Some of us brought our own tools. I bought tools ahead of time and brought it over, ratchet wrenches. And then the Vietnamese kids there, there is a ground logistics pastor that coordinates getting the hotel and planning the lousy meals and pick, all that stuff. And he's the one that we actually built a container load of wheelchairs that came from China. There are about 475 wheelchairs in a container. So the container was in Saigon, and then they subdivided it and sent, 40 wheelchairs to this city, and 20 wheelchairs to this city, and 100 wheelchairs to Hanoi. And they subdivided this container, and then they just bused us to these little towns where we build the chairs.
Did you take pictures that you could share?
I took 1,800 pictures.
Maybe you could do a lunch.
Well, I don't think I would be interesting enough for a slideshow. Yes, Dan?
Can we put those pictures on the website?
Well, you would have to thin them down a little bit. It might overload.
Yes.
I mean, if you guys are interested, I'd be glad to show you my pictures.
I bet you would. Yeah.
But anyway, I shot a lot of pictures. I shot a lot of pictures of the countryside because we saw so much of the countryside because we're riding around in this bus. So I got lots of pictures of the countryside and of the people, and lots of pictures of people because there's so much character in their faces. It was amazing. Gail.
Did the communist government acknowledge the fact that that money came from here?
Well, I don't know if they acknowledged that, but they were well aware of it because they were at every one of our build locations. And as a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. We went to this one location, and the pastor came up to me and said, Kurt, your name is not on the master manifest list, and they have counted up the number of people that are building chairs, and then they compared it to the manifest list, and there's one person difference, you. So the government guy wants to meet you. So they pulled me off the building the wheelchairs to introduce me to this guy, and he wasn't in a uniform. He just looked like Joe Sixpack. He was in shorts and a T-shirt. But he was a communist government official, and he had counted up the number of Americans in the room and compared that to the master list. So they're kind of always there, but I think they very much appreciate what we're doing. I'm sure of that.
People do anyway.
And the people do, and we would have
The recipients realize that?
that came from America, yes, because we had a translator, and after we built all the chairs and everybody's sitting in the chairs, we would have a Diaz up here, and we would have someone from the Communist Red Cross, someone from our group, and a couple other people, and they'd all give speeches in Vietnamese, and they translated if we were speaking in English. So they were well aware that every person that got the chair was well aware these chairs were from American generosity, and the government knew. Absolutely. Anyway, yes.
Is there a new program going on where people are donating to get money available again?
Well, the fundraising never stops for this organization. But if you're going to donate to this organization, I'll give you my website because I'd like to have you donate to me because it still goes to them. But my goal is $20,000. I've only raised $8,000, so I got a long ways to go.
I'm just wondering if the PEP, when we have a few extra dollars, if we could throw it into that.
Well, you might want to spend it on that. We'll talk offline about that.
It's such a worthy thing to do.
It's a really worthy cause, and it's wonderful. I went to their corporate headquarters in Irvine because I wanted to meet the people that worked in kind of the head office, and they only have one office. And it was nice because it wasn't a big fancy office. There were 8 women working there, that's it, and the president, and it was just a dinky office, everyone with little cubes, and it was nice to see that all the money they raise, virtually 80 or 90%, is going to the people that need the chairs and to the parts, and not going to big fat salaries and corporate offices and all that. Yes, Steve?
Kurt, you might consider charging a nominal fee to do your slides as it means of raising some money and through your efforts. Get all the dough from us that you can to see those pictures, and then maybe drum up other interest and other donations that you would like to see added to that $20,000 that you're seeking.
I'm not quite sure I understand.
Trying to help you fundraise, give you an idea.
I'm putting D on the head of the fundraising committee. Anyway, I've taken way more than enough time. It was a really, really special experience, and we'll get to show you the slides either at a luncheon or on the website or something. But it's an amazing country, and the people couldn't, my last word is, none of the people could speak English, not even a, hello. But how they spoke in their eyes, and grab your arms, and it was really, really touching. Unbelievable. Thanks.
What's your website?
Kurt, what's your website?
What's your website?
I can't remember. I'll have to. I mean, it's blah 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 blah. I don't. I'll get it to you.
I'll put a link on our website.
We'll put a link.
Go to PEPPioneers.com and you'll find the link there.
Dan, I'll give it to you because it's not just a free wheelchair mission website. It's kind of my website. You go there, and if you want to donate $10, you can do it, and they take Visa and MasterCard and all that. It's a professional website. And there's a little video that I've produced explaining why I wanted to support this cause, and I get credit for it. And all the money goes directly to them. But thanks.
Good job, Kurt.
Thank you
Good
for
job.
doing that, Kurt.
Good job. Yes, there'll be a link on the PEP website, PEPPioneers.com, and then there'll be a link on there for, that's Dan's job. He'll see that that gets done, our webmaster. Now, am I the only one that thinks communist Red Cross is an oxymoron? Just, for some reason, those two words just don't seem to blend real well together. Dan, do you have anything to talk about with the website or activism, or?
Visit the website and find out.
Oh, I like it. Visit the website and find out what's going on with activism and oxygen and laws and legislation. And it's an easy website to remember. Who are you? You're the PEP, Pulmonary Education Program Pioneers. So go to PEPPioneers.com, and the first one that comes up is our site, nice and boxed, and it's like the first of like 300,000 other sites that it comes up in front of. So we've got wonderful placement there. Yeah, I see Dan on his feet now.
Thanks, Betsy. You had mentioned earlier about breathing classes and doing some refresher on oxygen. On our website, there are a whole list of videos on breathing techniques, pursed-lip breathing. There's so much valuable information to kind of remind us what we learned in class. And it's just simply a matter of going to PEPPioneers.com and finding it. Try and keep, we've got a couple people taking pictures today, plus our video, and we put all our luncheons up on the website every month. So there's a wealth of information. And I'll give it back to these ladies. I just wanted to.
Thank you. Thank you. The movers and shakers. Okay, we're going to have a raffle. And first we're raffling off